Hello, hello, hello. After having been through the Wringer for a month or more since I made the last video, and I will get into the details in this video about it, but first I want to celebrate what is behind me. E.T. Spaceship 9 Stargate Galactica. Yay! Awesome! Look how nice it is. It is nice, baby dog. Yes, it is nice. The baby dog likes that too. He likes to be protected by Stargate Galactica. Yes. And next to that is E.T. Spaceship 3. And Stargate Galactica is E.T. Spaceship 9. So, E.T. Spaceship 8 is in my walk-in closet. And that is not even 100% completed. I still have to do some more work on it. But it already looks pretty good. But I just didn't have any space anywhere on the walls for E.T. Spaceship 8 because it is a very large, elongated cardboard box, and I don't know where to hang that, so I will probably just leave it in the closet and then take it with me when we move to another place and hang it up where we hopefully have more space for my artwork. So that would be awesome. But I have to cover up the baby dog. Yes, the baby dog has to be covered because he is nude. Yes, he's nude, almost completely nude. So anyway, I am ultra grateful for this. I think I'm going to show this more close up, if the light permits this. It's very nice. So it is a portal. It's the portal of the Blue God. And there's the baby dog also on this portal, and Paul and Nicola and the Blue God on the top, and like a bird on the side there, but an abstract bird, and there's the tree of life in an abstract form, and the 8 on the side, the infinity sign, and flowers and hearts and swimming pools and jacuzzis, all in this painting. There's a beautiful red flower there. It's very, very nice, very gorgeous. Yes, this looks so good. They look good together, these two. Very, very nice. So the light is pretty dim already in here, but it looks good. My artwork also in the glass cabinet. I cannot show Paul. That does not. He'll get upset, and I'll have to delete the video if I do that. But that looks pretty good. All of these little art sculptures in there. Very nice. So I'm gonna take this with me into the bedroom because I can sit down there. I can't sit on my computer anymore. I will explain that in a moment. So it's dark in here already, but whatever. So I don't know. This is not even there's no light in here at all. What are we gonna do about that? Oh dang. Oh God. But this is the only way I can sit down right now, is if I am lying down halfway over my bed with my head propped up on Paul's bed. So, and I have a heated blanket on my mattress, and I have a floor heater mat underneath this camp cot. My big bed is in the big house, and I was not able to carry it over here. This is gonna be a Herculean job to do this. But eventually we're gonna have to bring my big bed in here and put it next to Paul's queen size bed. So I have 2 queen size beds in this bedroom. And that would be a lot more comfortable. But maybe I should turn that light on. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. Turn this light on. But I can't touch that. I cannot touch it because of my OCD. So I will have to use my foot. I've used the foot. There, I did it. Okay. See, that's the thing. I cannot touch the light switch. So I don't know. It's better like this. So I don't know. This is chaos. It's a chaotic video. I don't even know if I want to make this video. I don't even know if I'm going to upload the video. But whatever. I missed it like this here. I have to keep my lumbar area, the lower part of my spinal cord, I have to keep that straight at all times. Doctor also told me that. Yeah, I went to the ER 3 times. I can't believe it. Holistic that I am. Completely against the medical establishment, against pharma drugs and all of that. And here I had to take all of that because I was in such excruciating pain, level 10 pain, and it was on and off. I was on level 10 more than 5 times over the last months, and not for a short time. I mean, it would last for more than an hour each time, and when you're in that kind of pain, it's like being cut open alive. That's what it feels like. And so I had to go to the ER because I freaked out. I thought, there's no way I can live with that kind of pain for 1 more minute. There's no way. I mean, I was on my couch in the other room. I was screaming into my hat. I had my puffer hat there next to me and my cushions, and I was squeezing my head against all of that and trying to find a situation where the lumbar area would not be in distress. So, and that was I couldn't find any way to sit or hunch over or straighten the back. It was flared up. I have never experienced anything like this in my entire life. That is the worst thing that I have ever experienced in my life. And I've been through a lot of agony and pains and tooth pain and screaming and all kinds of things, suicidal, all kinds of things I've been through. But this here is the absolute worst, you know. Whenever I thought, oh, now this was the worst, so in the past, I had no idea about how serious pain can be actually. Yeah, it felt like somebody was butchering me up alive. That's what it felt like. It was so, I can't even put words into it. It was so extreme that I thought, oh, I have to do anything now to get rid of this pain, because there's no way you can stand it. You cannot stand this type of pain. It's impossible. And it was coming out of the lower spinal cord, and it must have been pinching the sciatic leg nerve. I researched this, of course, on the internet, found out about sciatica and the sciatic leg nerve. And sciatica can be caused by many different things. It's not one thing only that causes this intense pain. And there are many different levels of pain that people experience. Most people experience not such intense levels of pain, I guess, or if they do, I don't know, they go to the doctor very, very fast and get some kind of anti-inflammatory injected into it, like a steroid. And they had to inject me with a steroid. And that lady, she punched the needle all the way into my love handle, like all the way in. And Paul saw that. He told me about that because I didn't know. I couldn't see because I was like hunched over that hospital bed, and I just knew it was gonna hurt, but the pain of the needle did not even come close to the pain of my spinal cord and the pinching of the sciatic leg nerve. And it's my right leg. And the pain is particularly, when it flared up, it was particularly bad in my right hip, in the butt area, and it went down the muscle area of my upper thigh, particularly the upper part. The lap area was absolutely screaming. And then it went down into my lower leg, into the calf, and into the muscle area of my calf. So I have these Neanderthal calves that are very bulging out and wide on both sides of the bone. And I have a lot of tissue in the calf, and I have a lot of muscle tissue in the calf. And that the muscle tissue in particular was flared up. And I think that because it felt like someone put my leg into a freezer, that's what it felt like. Like it was laid on ice, and someone was taking an ice pick and slamming it against my bone, against the leg bone, over and over and over again. That kind of sensation. I mean, I can't even describe it the way it was. I'm just trying to describe it with words, but it was so unbelievably intense. It's incredible. I've never been through something like this. So it wasn't like a leg cramp, because I've had those too in the past. I was always able to shake that out with my leg, but this would not be shaking out. This was something, and I can feel the muscle right now. It is kind of like corresponding to me talking about this. If I even talk about it or think about it, it starts to correspond, and it says, yeah, I remember, I do. Yes, we we remember this. Yes, 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 yes. But I have to tell my nerves, there's no need to flare up now. There's no need to signal now. Absolutely, it's just a phantom pain anyway, because the sciatic leg nerve is pinched, and then it signals to the brain, to the main brain reception of the peripheral nervous system. The brain receives. The brain has a pain receiver center, where the entire peripheral nervous system is routed to through the whole body, and it tells this receiver exactly where in the body this pain is, even if it's just a phantom pain. The lumbar area being pinched is not a phantom, but the sciatic leg nerve that is connected to these in between the vertebrates. That is, when that is pinched, then it can create some kind of, it creates a misinformation, like a political misinformation. It's like a complete, but from the wrong side, the wrong side misinformation or disinformation from the mafia side. So it's pinched, and then the signaling from the leg to the lumbar area, which routes it up to the brain, then that is disconnected. It's shredded up. It gives false information. It creates some kind of sensation in the leg that is not supposed to be there, and it does that because the main pain receiver in the brain translates this very abrupt and intermittent pinched nerve sensation as pain in the leg, and then it routes it back to the leg and tells the leg, you are in pain. And in reality, the leg is not in pain. There's nothing going on with it. But it tells the leg, you are in pain. And then the leg says, okay, if you tell me I'm in pain, then I must be in pain. And then it will feed back. And there's a constant feedback loop then happening. Okay, that can be completely based on this phantom pain. People have experienced this with phantom pain in arms that were missing. People with missing arms that used to have an arm or a leg, and then that suddenly this phantom arm, the missing arm, was hurting them, the whole arm. That Vilayana Ramachandran from UC San Diego has been studying this in depth. He is a leading scientist in neuroscience, and he has come across a couple of bizarre things like this phantom pain in amputees. And so what he found out is that obviously there is activity going on in the nerve of the arm, which the nerve up to where it is amputated, the nerve is still there. And the nerve is still there with all of its filaments, with all of its nerve fibers that used to be all attached to the entire arm. So if some of these nerve fibers are then pinched, or if they're touching on something, or I don't know what can all cause it, then they signal the entire arm to the brain, even though the arm is missing. And it can cause excruciating pain in the arm that is missing. So they thought that was very, very curious, and they got into it very deep with scientific studies with those people. And Dr. Ramachandran, he's a genius. He put up a mirror on a table where the person, when they look into this mirror, they see their good arm that's still there, which then is mirror reflected to the other side. So when they sit in front of this mirror, they basically see that they have two arms just because of the mirror. And just sitting in front of this mirror, looking at these two arms, and also he would move the fingers, and then the fingers would also move, of course, in the phantom arm, but only perceived by the brain, because it's a mirror image of the other one. And that did it. That got rid of the pain. That got rid of the phantom pain in the missing limb. It's amazing. Absolutely. That's a breakthrough in science, what he discovered there. This is, it's incredible how the brain is involved with all of that, even just our perception alone. How our perception alone can be tricking us into suddenly thinking, now we have both of our arms and hands, right? When in reality that's not the case. So, and then he also found out he went really down this rabbit hole of science, and he found out about anosognosia. And once we get into the subject of anosognosia, then there is no stopping anymore. Then we really get into what the human brain is capable of doing, in terms of self-trickery. And that doesn't stop with the body, of course, that's, the body is one thing that is perceived. It goes outside the body, it goes into someone seeing something that they have been told that doesn't exist, and then they think they're crazy, or they have to deny that they saw something, because what we see in our environment is normally only the 3D based materialistic stuff, which is of course also based on energy, but we see the materialistically manifested things around us. But there are also energetic things around us that we do not perceive normally under normal circumstances. But in a fever delirium, or under LSD or mushrooms, people are able to see these other things. So, but then they might go, when they come back out of that trip, they will go back into this denial. So they don't perceive it. And this denial state is called that's the discrimination ribbon activity in the brain that does it. We have a discrimination ribbon in the brain that's actually a physical formation that denies the input, not just denies it psychologically, but it denies the input neurologically from things that we could perceive in our environment that are not in the 3D physical realm, that haven't been manifested into this blanket or my hair or my skin and so on. So stuff that is in the ethereal space around us. And now that goes very, very, very far, this research. That's the research of Dr. Hindak Emrich from Medizinische Hochschule Hannover in the past. An absolutely incredible breakthrough, but denied. And here it's like, that's exactly his point. Yeah. denied by the vast majority of the scientific community, for the very reason that he is pointing it out. We are going into denial about things that are not supposed to be there. We not just physically, we go emotionally into denial about things that are not supposed to be there. Paul is the perfect example of this. Paul is the prototypical example of that. So that's why I don't know what would happen to Paul if an ET spaceship would actually come and show itself to him. And people would come out of there and they look very different. Different skin, different faces. One major indication is the neocortex at least twice the size or 3 times the size. Okay, so how would he react to this? What would happen to him? Would he go into a denial? Would he go into a form of anosognosia, which comes from, this is a Latin word that means means away, nosognosia, away from the knowing, denial, okay? A state of denial. So, a state of denial of the original sense, the original meaning for this word was about a person, a client of Dr. Ramachandran, being in denial, being in a physiological denial, both psychological and physical denial. Very deep-rooted denial. That's why it's called anosognotic, because it's like a visceral form of a physiological, neurological form of denial of a client who had a stroke and is not able to move one of their arms or legs, but goes into a denial of not being able to move the arm or leg. So that's another medical curiosity that they looked deeper into, and so I thought that is absolutely fascinating. That some people they will say, "Oh, I just don't want to move the arm right now." I mean, it goes that far. It's not even conscious. They're not even consciously aware of how they're acting. So it's like a denial of an injury or of an illness or something that goes to the point of neurological state of denial, anosognosia. So, and they will make all kinds of excuses why they just right now cannot move this arm, instead of looking at the actual situation. I'm making video, which is the actual situation is they had a stroke and something disconnected the nerve impulse to the arm or leg or whatever, and the body and brain goes into this state of, I am well, nothing is going on, I'm normal, I didn't get hurt. And I had to think about this for a long time. There's a phenomenon with wounded deer. Wounded deer in the wild. Deer are obviously, they're prey animals. They get preyed on all the time by other animals, by humans, by hunters. It's awful, horrific. And a wounded deer, a deer with a wounded leg, for example, where a wound is bleeding, or they can't even move the leg, or if they walk, they would have to be limping really badly. A wounded deer in the wild, particularly if they see a predatory animal, they will act like there is nothing wrong with them. And I bet you 100% they're in that state of neurological denial, which is anosognosia. So they are anosognosic about their injury, and it is an unconscious, it's an involuntary neurological state of mind that has protected many of them from being killed. So it has been passed on through generations, genetically. So it's a genetic ability, not a disability. It's actually an ability to prevent the animal from freaking out. Normally we have the fight or flight. When something like this does happen, we go into the other direction of total panic, and then a predatory animal will see total panic and they will go after that animal. So because then they think, oh, that's an injured animal, okay, that signals to them, so that information. And they go after injured animals. They go after old and injured animals, which is the better way of dealing with these situations, okay? It's all gruesome and brutal, but it doesn't last forever. So a situation like this, a predatory animal will see an injured animal in a panic and will go after that animal, will go right to the throat, will cut through the throat and put that animal out of misery, okay? And it's always old or very injured or sick animals. It's not the healthy deer bucks, that are at the peak of their lives and happy and their mating and all of this. It's the mating ones that are getting shot by hunters, because the hunters are going after the real good looking big male deer, so that they can hang the deer antler on their wall. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's a human pathology. That's what it is. In the wild, the predatory animals, they go after the limping ones, they go after the injured ones. They also smell blood, of course. And that is much more merciful. Okay, and that's more natural. That is the natural evolution on Earth. Okay, so not hunters going out there and shooting healthy males like themselves. Right? I mean, it's just as if they were shooting at each other at the prime of their lives, at age 30 or 40 or whatever. And these males, these male deers, they are often the heads of the family. They are fathers. They are protecting the women. So it's horrific when that happens, But it is merciful when a wolf or wolf pack goes after an injured or old deer, or injured or old horse, or any animal, So that's actually merciful, because no living being, and I had to go through this really, really, really harshly, for this last month. No, and I really realized, it made me really serious. It made me realize that no living being ever, 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 ever in the world ever deserves to be in prolonged pain, particularly not in acute pain like this, like being in extreme, flared up neurological pain. No animal should ever be exposed to this type of suffering. And in nature, it isn't. Okay. They scream when they're in that much pain, and of course, when they're in that much pain. Okay. You can't help but scream, and that will bring a predator over, and the predator puts them out of misery. and then eats them, of course. And that's nature, okay? You can't complain about nature because that is what the natural flow of life is. Not a hunter going out there shooting a healthy male deer. And sometimes they shoot the mothers too, even pregnant mothers. It's all horrific. It's absolutely infinitely sad and heartbreaking. But that is the human species with its misunderstandings about the world, about nature. The human species with its religion and mind control, and religion and mind control makes people very stupid. It makes people disconnect from the flow of life and from life around them, from nature and all of that. It's very sad. That's why I write against that all the time. I speak out against that all the time. So I have to be in this lying position for my lumbar area, because if I sit even for more than 1 minute, if I sit down, toilet, all of that doesn't last that long. It's like not even a minute. But sitting on the computer, and I made the mistake the other day after I already had been through the pain. I made this mistake again. I sat down on my office chair. I thought, I think I got it under control. And I was on the computer for an hour in that sitting position. I could already feel how it was tensing up, and how my whole leg was tensing up in like a total inflammation, and totally flaring up, like being put on ice again. And then the pain in the butt, literally, this is literally pain in the butt this year, but much worse than that saying is, so it's like much worse than just being annoyed, or being inconvenienced. No, this is hardcore. This is hardcore physical pain and suffering. And I don't wish this on anyone, okay? No living being should ever have to experience something like this for even a minute. Not even a minute. That's like Joan of Arc being burned down on a stake, on some kind of malfire, on some kind of evil religious fire. What she must have been through. Some people say she didn't even scream. I don't see how. So maybe she put herself into a mental state of disconnecting from the pain. But maybe that's just a telltale. She probably screamed. I mean, it's like screaming hellfire, literally. The worst type of pain anyone can possibly experience. And that's what this situation was as well. So if any pig who is being slaughtered, and if they're still conscious, they squeal in absolute extreme agony, or just being brought into the slaughter chamber. They already know. They're very intelligent animals. They already know what is coming. They're gonna be cut up, and this entire body goes into extreme fear and resistance. They stem themselves against that with all of their muscle power. I think they even tear their own muscles out of fear. It's like the silence of the lambs, that the girls that had their skin pulled off in that dungeon. The way they would claw on the wall until their fingertips are bleeding, screaming and clawing on the wall to get out of that pit. It's just a movie, but these kind of things have happened. Whenever you see a movie, a horror movie, it is absolutely apparent that these type of things have happened and are happening in the world. The human species is not well, okay, to say the least. So what I've seen and witnessed now already, I've seen unbelievable horrors, real true stories, true reports on things that have happened. Also animal cruelty that is so horrific that people can't even wrap their heads around it. That is how sick many humans are. Not the majority, not even half of the people. I don't know. I'm guessing. Maybe it's just 20%, but then I heard reports that there could be even more people, that the percentage could be even higher of sadistic behavior. What stops most people is fear of being caught. So I wonder if the majority of humans are sadistic, if they could get away with it. So that's why I have paranoia, that's why I have fear. I'm afraid of people. I don't trust people. It is what it is. I know there are good people on this planet, but they're in an absolute marginal percentage. They're good people. Good people are like, I don't know, overall 10%. 10% of people that would never hurt someone, no matter what the situation was. And an even smaller percentage of people that would help someone. And even smaller percentage of people that would go way out of their way to rescue someone, to rescue an animal or another person. And Captain Paul Watson is one of those rare specimens on this planet who goes way out of his way to save thousands and thousands and thousands of whales. And what are the sadistic people? What are the bureaucratic people and the officers and the ones that are told what to do? What do they do with him? They put him in prison and in Greenland. He's in Greenland in prison, and they said he will stay there indefinitely. That's what they said. And Japan wants him extradited to Japan, to a Japanese prison where they would torture him to death. All because he has saved thousands of whales and stopped the Japanese whale hunters from killing a lot of whales. He stopped Japanese whale hunters from killing thousands of whales. And they're mad at him for that. So that tells us something about the human species across all ethnic groups. So my message to people is get the petition, to sign the petition. Go to the Paul Watson Foundation website, sign the petition to free Paul Watson from prison. Do whatever you can. Write personal letters to Mette Frederiksen of Denmark. Denmark is in charge of Greenland, and to the lawyers and the judicial system. Write letters to them. That's all I can say. Do what you can to to help get Captain Paul Watson out of prison. He's old and he has a wife and children, and he deserves to spend his retirement years with his wife and children in peace. He deserves it from all people on this planet. He deserves it the most. He deserves a peaceful retirement the most, because he really earned it. He has risked his life. He has risked death and torture and drowning and all kinds of terrible dangers that could go wrong out in the ocean. He risked his life over and over and over his entire life, from when he was like 18 years old to almost 80. Gone out there on numerous, uncountable campaigns to save the whales in the oceans worldwide, particularly out there in Antarctica, in the whale sanctuary. This is an internationally declared whale sanctuary, this entire region there. The Japanese whale hunters go there anyway because they feel like there's nobody patrolling it except for Paul Watson and his crew. His own organizations have turned on him. Sea Shepherd, Greenpeace have turned on him. They have kicked him out of his own established organizations that he has founded. They got infiltrators on board, and these infiltrators managed to turn people against him and kicked him out. How infinitely sad. What a betrayal that is. Unbelievable. So my friend Sandy said that Sea Shepherd France is still for Paul Watson and is campaigning very, very strongly for his release from prison. And they are on his side. So also with protecting the whales and going out there in action and risking their lives. He never forced anyone to risk their lives. He told people up front, this is dangerous. You can die doing this. And the people signed up anyway. And the amount of people, let's compare this to the world population. The amount of people that have done this is about 80 people or 100 people. And compare that to 8 billion humans. And then you see how marginal that percentage is, okay, of people that are willing to do this. So let's not kid ourselves about the human species. Most people would never do this. Most people are cowards. It is what it is. There's only a handful of courageous people. Donald Trump is one of the very, very courageous people. He's risking his life too, doing what he's doing, trying to save the United States. Elon Musk is risking his life too. Okay. Those are the ultra courageous people. Robert Kennedy is risking his life. These are old. Paul Watson, Donald Trump, and Robert Kennedy are old. And they're still risking their lives, and they're tirelessly trying to make the world a better place. Protect and make life better, make the legislation better, and save animals. That's what they all have in common. And also Tulsi Gabbard is also one of the courageous people. Very courageous. Those are my absolute top 5 heroes on this planet. And there are more, of course. But compared to the overall number of humans, obviously they are in a in an absolute margin percentage of 0.0001% something. And it is what it is. Okay. So, and that's why I say, I don't force anyone, I don't shame anyone into doing what they do, saying, oh, you're a loser if you don't do this. No, I would never do this. But at least acknowledge. That's all I'm asking from people. Acknowledge that there's a handful of highly courageous, good Samaritan, kind-hearted, ultra compassionate, caring, ethical, empathic people out there. Let's acknowledge that. Okay? Let's put them on the pedestal and not some guru or TV personality. Yeah. Let's put them on that level. And Donald Trump happens to be a TV personality and a courageous, good Samaritan. Okay, one of the absolute most courageous people in the world. That is what Donald Trump is. And he's also a TV personality. Both. And he's a genius also. So he knows how to deal with people. He knows how to say no. He knows how to fire people when it's needed. He doesn't cower down. He doesn't give in. When he sees bullshit, when he sees injustice, he will do something about it. Okay? And he will risk everything to do something about it. He will not back down. And it's those people, those are the human Staffordshires, okay, like the baby dog. Baby dog will not back down. If baby dog is getting into a fight mode, he will not back down. That is bred into him, okay? And so there are some humans like this. They will not ever back down. They can't, because they would. It's not just they're not even thinking about it. It's just it is. Okay, they see injustice and they go after it. And that's the way it should be. And if everyone was like that, this world would be a paradise for everyone, for every living being. Okay, and that's the truth. So, yeah, I am right now in convalescence. I don't know when I ever will be able to sit on a chair again. I might never be able to sit on a chair again. I don't know what's wrong with it. There could be all kinds of things. I have no idea. The ER doctors, they are guessing, and they're guessing on the medication. And, I saw one of them 2 times, and he already said to me the first time I saw him, he said that he strongly recommends an anti-inflammatory and anti-spasmodic and muscle relaxant. And the holistic mind says, oh, I'm against that. Can't we figure something holistic? That's not gonna work. And oh, this is farmer industry, and oh, so ranting against that. And the doctor is like, inside of his head, like, oh my gosh. Oh. But he didn't say anything, but I could tell that was like, what's going on with you? Are you in pain? Do you want help or not? So, and I feel bad. I feel sorry that I acted the way I did. Like, no, I will not take the anti-inflammatory. That's bad. That's bad for the liver. And then he says, no, it's been tested. It's tested on animals, of course, which is awful, But it's not bad for the liver. You can take that. It's not bad for the kidneys. And it's safe to take that for, I don't know, certain time span. I mean, you don't want to take that for the rest of your life. Arnold Schwarzenegger has overdone it with the steroids, of course. That caused him all kinds of health problems, including heart problems, and all of that was probably caused by those massive injection of steroids. So, and I think today he realizes that. And that's another courageous person, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I count him also onto the top. Yeah. The absolute top 1% of the ultra courageous people. So I want Arnold Schwarzenegger to do whatever he can to come back to California into the governor's office and kick that Governor Newsom out, in a big kick in the butt. Okay. To fly across Bel Air and Beverly Hills in a big jump and have his butt kicked and kicked right back into his own house. So, and then have Arnold Schwarzenegger back in office as governor of California. So that's what he needs. He needs to say, I will be back. Okay, so that's what Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to say now. This is very important. I wrote to him on X. He probably doesn't get to read all of these comments from millions and millions and millions of crazy fans. But I do what I can. I mean, I write it anyway. So I said, we need you back, okay? You need to get Governor Newsom out and need to get you back in office. And he and Donald Trump, they had some kind of disagreement in the past. But put all of that aside. Put that away. It's unimportant. These disagreements is totally unimportant. What matters is that you are both mega compassionate, intelligent, successful, powerful powerhouses, okay, and courageous. And it's people like that the world needs. Okay, we need those people in all offices. And Donald Trump is putting good people now, already casting very good people into the different legislative offices, and that's what needed to happen. So let's just pray to the infinite cosmos, to the blue God, that this transition from what's happening right now to the good Samaritans coming in will be smooth and without resistance from the side of the corporate agenda, the mafia, the world mafia, the Rothschilds, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Klaus Schwab, George Soros and his family. And let's just hope that the string holders aren't going to cause another massive catastrophe. Whatever they will not shy away from anything. They will use war, they will use civil war, they will use civil unrest, they will use anarchy, they will use anything, they will use cyber attacks, they will use shutting down the electricity with some kind of magnetic bomb and other. There are endless possibilities that could happen from now until they come into office. Until the good people come into office. So I'm terrified. I don't know what might happen. So I'm absolutely terrified. And obviously the resistance is huge because the good people, they are going to blow the whistle. They're gonna have everything exposed and every criminal exposed. And they will have tribunals and they will have justice served, okay? And obviously the criminals are terrified of that. But the world is watching, okay? The majority of people do understand that the way things are running right now, in the United States, this is not sustainable for anyone. Not even for the criminals. Not even sustainable for the criminals' string holders. It's if they want to live in their underground world instead of seeing the sun and the trees, right? I mean, not even they want to experience a cataclysmic event and have to go into their underground world. And there is an underground world, trust me, there is. But they're gonna, I mean, that would be like retreating into the underground world, into the cave system, the underground cave system of planet Earth. There are some large caves underground. And sometimes these caves go very, very deep, and it's very warm, and it's better climate and all of that. They even have light, and so very interesting. But if they go into the underworld, they're not going to see the actual sun anymore. They're not going to see the vast forests. They're not going to see the oceans anymore. They're not going to breathe fresh ocean air anymore. And they will lose at least 50%, if not more, of their income and you know, the political, socio-economic power that they have right now. So if they go into the underworld, that's like going into hiding. So it will affect everyone. It will affect the string holders. It will affect every person and animal in the United States if they create a cataclysmic event where we don't have power, we don't have electricity, we don't have medical treatment, the ERs are going to shut down, where we have civil war, we have tribal system again, where if you're lucky you find a group of like-minded people to band together with, you know. So, and obviously, as it always goes with the human species, the people will trust the most people that look like them. That is always the case. Even in the people that find this type of bias abhorrent and despicable, and they snub that, right? They will also have no other choice because the others will kill them. Okay, so, and it's the same with the prison mentality. You know, white person goes to prison and walks through those halls and sees the different ethnic groups and actually has to ask someone, where are my people at? You know, he doesn't even dare to say white. And they'll point the finger over there, all the way at the end. There are your folks. And then he has to go there, and even though he doesn't get along with them, there's a hierarchy among them, he has to go there because the other ones would kill him. So, or the chances are very high that they would kill him. So he hasn't, whether he is woke or not, falls to the side. So because white people and Asians get killed, so they have to stick with their own people. And it happens also right now on the streets, you know, all the time. Paul told me that a whole lot of Asian people were recently stabbed somewhere in a large city. Then they finally released the names and the photos. Guess who the stabbers are? They're black men. Okay, it is what it is. Let's not kid ourselves about it. Those are the most violent humans on earth, black men. Okay? And Middle Eastern men also don't trail far behind. The Middle Eastern men are more like into cunning and human trafficking and those type of things. And the black men are into stabbing people and punching people and causing unbelievable physical suffering, throwing people under a train and stuff like that. It is what it is. Let's not be woke and shy about the truth. It is what it is. Let's look at it, look at reality, face it. Because if we're not willing to face reality, then we're bringing on a cataclysmic event sooner or later. And that's why things have escalated in the United States to this point, because of denial, wokeism, this idea we are from Harvard, we are not racist, right? We are better than that. We're so noble, right? We're so beautiful. We're the top 1% of. We're so intellectual and so, but Barbie or whatever. I've seen it all. I'm not kidding myself about it. I've seen all of these people. I mean, Germany is full of those people, full of these arrogant motherfucks, full of these piss-ons. Okay, it is what it is. I'm not gonna raise my vibration or vibrator on this. Okay, I have to say it the way it is. Okay, it is what it is. Let's be very realistic. Okay, I hate that. I hate seeing people being like my brother, who think they're. My brother has never accomplished anything, but he thinks he is top-notch 1% of the noblesse elite or something, just because of the way he dresses, the trophy wife he has on his side. That's all it takes, for him to feel like he's a god. He literally told me that. I hate him. He's a motherfucker. It is what it is. I go through terrible mental agony over all of this, over the betrayal that he's done to me. He's frauded me by several million euros. So, and as Karl Lagerfeld, the fashion designer, as he said, that if people betray him, he walks away and he will never look back. And when I heard about that, I mean, I was already leaning in that direction, but when I heard about that, I was very impressed. I was very impressed by that. I didn't know that much about Karl Lagerfeld, about his personality and all. But when I heard that, I was right on board with that. I thought, that's good. That's very good. And he did not turn on Claudia Schiffer because she said she doesn't want to wear a fur coat. So he did not turn on her for that, because he acknowledged that she is right, actually. He was just very old school, they used to do fur, and he probably has never really put a lot of thought into it, the suffering that goes into it. But then it takes someone like Claudia Schiffer to say, no, I don't want to wear a fur coat. It's cruel. And then he goes, okay, you're right. He's not going to fire her for that or get mad. No, but he will turn away from people that are coming after him, that are frauding him, that are causing his life suffering. Okay, so he will turn away from those and never go back. And that is good. Okay, and when we hear about this, you have to forgive people. That is a corporate message to you to become obedient. It's mind control. To tell you have to forgive people is total mind control. MK Ultra. MK comes from the German words mentale Kontrolle with a K. Okay, mentale Kontrolle, which translates to mind control. Okay. So MKs, mentale Kontrolle, comes from the SS, comes from the Hitler regime. They have done mentale Kontrolle. And they were not the only ones. They were completely tethered with the Rothschilds and with the world bankers and the weapon manufacturers here in the United States. They were completely one unit with Adolf Hitler, and most people don't even know. Most people don't have never heard about that. They don't know. When they retreated into the underground, okay, I heard 8,000 Nazis, top officials, including Adolf Hitler and Karl Dönitz and Göring and Himmler. All of these people, they retreated into Antarctica, into the Antarctic Circle, into underground caves. Okay. It's an entire cave system that's very, very large, with a real tropical climate in there. They retreated in there, over 8,000 people or something. And they created a colony there, a German colony. And they made an agreement with the United States top officials. They had the top officials would leave them alone in exchange for the Nazis not using ET technology against them. So they had the upper hand with ET technology, the Nazis. That's the stories I heard now from numerous different type of reports, and I believe it. They also got very vital information from Buddhist monks in Tibet. They got information about mind control. Unfortunately, they use the occult for selfish purposes, so which is a breach of universal law. So, but they're not worse or better than the Rothschilds or any of these world stringholders. Okay, they're just completely. They're on the same level as the world stringholders. Just as bad, just as cunning, just as controlling, and all of that. So there are differences in ideologies. Adolf Hitler had a better ideology in the beginning, and I guess throughout. But then things got really out of hand because they used occult and they used vital stuff like ET information and ET technology to advance themselves, to have control over others. And then the worst mistake they made is going against ethnic groups. So you cannot do this. You cannot. I mean, there are obviously, we have statistics, and I talk about it very openly. We have to look at statistics, but we cannot go against an entire ethnic group because of that, because there are always exceptions to the majority of whatever this or one or another ethnic group is. There are always exceptions in every ethnic group, in every demographic. There could be certain trends in this or that group, but then there are exceptions. Okay, so there obviously you can't group all of them into that particular trend. You can't. It's impossible. And that would be absolutely cruel and unfair towards those people in any specific ethnic group that are not like this, that are not cruel to animals, that are not hunters, that are not Nazis, that are not power hungry, that are not stringholders or world bankers. Okay, so you cannot do this. You cannot go against an ethnic group. You cannot go against Jewish people. There's a huge percentage of Jewish people that are ultra compassionate, ethical, kind-hearted, courageous, that make the world a better place. Dr. David Bohm is one of them. Okay, so the von Braun brothers just mind only on technology. Albert Einstein, yeah, there's a whole list of incredible people, incredible, powerful shakers and movers and writers and artists. You cannot go against an ethnic group. You cannot do it. Okay. That having said, you have to look at facts. You have to look at statistics. You have to look at scientific studies. You have to look at these things. You have to look at it in order to get an orientation on the world. You need to know what's going on. You need to know that obviously, if I am a woman from Germany and I walk across Tijuana into Mexico alone without the dog, that would not be a good idea. So that's what we need statistics for, okay? But anyway, I am on my recovering trajectory right now. It is overall getting better. The pain flared up about 5 or more times, and for a long time I panicked. It was bad. I felt like cutting my throat. I really did. I really was thinking about it already. Because when you're in that kind of pain, you want it to end one way or another. Okay. And it made an adult out of me, this experience. It made me much more serious. Much, much, much more serious. But I will never let anyone or anything take the clown out of me. I will never allow any situation to take my soul, which is inner child, which is in being in the flow of the infinite cosmos, which is clown, which is valley of ridicule. I want to go through this, okay, because I'm also testing myself with that, and I want to be that. I want to be this authentic me, the clown, the jester, the observer, the child, the playful being, the playful mother with her baby dog, the infinite, divine, feminine mother animal, okay? Nothing will stop me from being that. No fear, no terror, no experience of pain and will ever stop me from giving everything to save my dog or another being that is in need of immediate help and medical attention. Okay, so that is absolutely crystal clear. And that's also empowerment. Okay, and I pay very close attention to things. I will not let anything deceive me. I will not let any movement, and I grew up in the woke society. I was immersed in it. My whole life, it was spoon-fed to me. I will not let these type of things or movements influence my brain and my mind. So, and I hope that other people will understand what I'm saying and will think about this, what I'm saying, and will also really look into this in themselves, to look into your own mind and see the BS, see what's going on. Why are you doing this? Why are you dressing? Why do you want to impress this person? Why do you want to look like this? Why do you want to be part of this group or that group? Why do you want to do this? What is it? Are you deceiving yourself with that? Yeah, certainly. Okay. If you want to belong to a group and you have a specific idea of how this group is expecting you to dress or talk, then you have been mind controlled. Okay? Don't do it. Go into your own mind and weed it out, see the truth for what it is. I don't like to use this type of metaphor, so because I like weeds. So, but sort it out, okay? Sort these things out in your own mind, and see things for what they are, okay? Begin to have compassion for someone else, for another living being. That living being could be an ET with 3 times the brain size. I don't know what Paul would do if he saw one. Paul is in deep denial about any of these metaphysical things, any of the real truths, the truths of, look at the demographics and don't bunch them up together. Okay? That's the truth. He seems to not be able to do it. This is tragic. I see that as tragedy. But of course I understand where he's coming from, so I'm not holding it against him. I don't hold the prejudice he has against him. He's coming from terror. I mean, he's been bullied in school by black kids, by black boys that are they're really big and everything, and the white boys at the same age, they're not as big. So, and they punch everyone in the stomach, and so that's how he grew up. I don't blame him for a second, but it's tragic that this has molded him into a bias that will always be this type of distorted glass to look through. It's a bias. And also, other people that went through the same, and then they group together, and then they will magnify that bias, of course, as every group of people that group together will then put all of their experience on the table, and then they go, well, this is how it is, and they're all like that, and they're whatever, they all punch you in the stomach, or they all do this, or they're all string holders and bankers. No, they are not. There are always exceptions, and we have to keep our heart open and our mind open to the exceptions, and we have to acknowledge people for who they are. When people are good, they are good, okay? And you can see that on X, okay? On X is a lovely, beautiful, wonderful, honest and genuine community of people that are wanting to make the world a better place, that are outspoken, we don't have to all agree, but they're outspoken, they share with the world what they think, okay? And then a real discussion can come out of this without anger, without punching people, without violence, this real discussion. And then through these discussions and through putting all the information from all these different people from any demographic, we put that all together on the table, then we have a much clearer picture of reality. And that is freedom of speech, that is democracy, and that is the real insight into what actually is going on in the world. That this is what's going on. Okay, these discussions are part of all of that. Okay? So everyone brings their personal perspective to the table, and we can argue with each other and say, I have seen an ET, and the other person has the right to say that they don't exist. So it's freedom of speech. Okay, so, and that's what makes our community on Earth stronger. Okay, to have freedom of speech, to not be siding with a demographic or trying to fit in with that demographic or snubbing people just because they don't fit into that demographic. No, we have to be a melting pot. We have to come together. We have to bring our information to the table. And then we make the world a better place. Peace and love.